Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here, one of my #1 goals for this channel is to deliver as much value as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. So let's get into it. So today we're talking all things Bitcoin. The title of this one is the Bitcoin Hodler's Quandary. And a quandary is when you're having trouble getting your head around something and trying to make sense and trying to get your way out of a problem, so to speak. And some of the points we're going to discuss here are the fees, fiat, hacks, crashes, and what's the end game? And also a little bonus, can Bitcoin get to $1 million? But before we get into it, a little history of Bitcoin. Back in 2008, there was something called the Great Financial Crisis. It was a recession that was sparked by big banks taking on too much risk when it came to mortgages and lending money out, and it led to a worldwide recession called the Great Financial Crisis. Now, those big banks that caused the problem in the first place, they were the ones that were bailed out. Not you or me, the big banks were. There was a term that said, too big to fail. Now this started to really irritate people. People felt there was a lot of corruption and the bank should have been bailed out. And that's where this idea came about with Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever that is, the founder of Bitcoin, to create a decentralized currency of sorts, to create a blockchain system, to create Bitcoin. So first, we're going to talk about the fees associated with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So when you go to the grocery store and you swipe your debit card or your credit card, there's pretty much almost every time no fee associated with that. Either the vendor eats that cost, or maybe it's passed on to you in a very negligible way, a very small fee. Whereas when you transact with all these cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, there's a lot of fees associated with it. Now, those fees used to be much higher. They've come a long way since Bitcoin came around about 15 years ago, but they're still pretty high. And if there's a lot of congestion on the network, a lot of traffic, those fees can get even higher and higher. And in some cases, those fees can get so high that they actually become bigger than the original value of the transaction that's taken place. So when it comes to legitimacy of a currency and a financial system, people need to be able to use it easily, and it shouldn't be very expensive. So these fees are sometimes seen as a problem when it comes to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. What do you think? Moving on, let's talk about the fiat dependence of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. As you go through your day-to-day life, you go to the grocery store, you go to the mechanic, you go to pay your taxes, whatever it is, are you using US dollars or the currency wherever you're from, or are you using a cryptocurrency to pay it? Now, once again, Bitcoin is only 15 years old. It's in its infancy, and it's only going to get better in time from what I can understand. But right now, today, can you go and do pretty much anything with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? The answer is no. Now, there are some very rare circumstances. Certain companies will allow transactions to occur in cryptocurrencies, but if you had to go out today and close on a house, and you had, let's say, $500,000 on a Bitcoin wallet, a little hard drive, you sign your papers, all right, thank you so much, and then you slide over a little hard drive and you told those people, yeah, you got 500 grand of Bitcoin on there, thank you so much. They'd be like, what are you talking about? That's not happening. If you go to a car dealership and you try to buy a car and say, I got a 20 million Dogecoin, are they going to accept that? Probably not. Now, the point I'm making is, while Bitcoin has done very well and these other cryptos have done very well over the last few years, and they're worth so much more than most people could have predicted, as of right now, where it stands, you're going to have to revert back to a fiat currency to transact and buy assets and buy groceries and buy a house. So that's one thing. Cryptocurrencies are still very dependent on fiat currencies. So moving on, let's talk about some of the security risks associated with cryptocurrencies. Got a little list here to read off of. One of the directors of Coinbase came out and said that there's been at around or even more than $8 billion worth of crypto that's been hacked from wallets in recent time. That's a lot of money, all right? Also, there's a company named Bybit. I don't know if that's a company that got hacked or that was doing the hacking. I'm not really sure. But there was a hack worth 1.5 billion Ethereum. I don't know what that's worth in dollars or euro or whatnot, but it was the biggest heist to date, all right? Also, one of the things that Bitcoin, like its selling point, is that no one can hack it. Now, that's the blockchain, not a wallet, but they're two different things. And the last point I want to make about security is how advanced AI is becoming, and does that worry you? I remember maybe 6 to 8 months ago, I woke up and the stock market was just red, down, down, down. And I didn't know why. And the reason behind it was there was an AI company in China named DeepSeek that was able to do all kinds of advanced trigonometry in record amounts of time with dead accuracy. And that started to freak investors out because at the time, that was the front runner for the most advanced AI technology. Now, if a human or a group of people can hack wallets with multiple layers of authentication and all that, what can AI do? Now, truth be told, I'm not an AI engineer, all right? You probably know more than me, and I'm definitely not a blockchain specialist, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you think that AI is going to present a problem with security risk down the line? Let me know in the comments below. And to continue working down this list, let's move on to crashes. For money to work, people are going to need price stability, right? People don't want to transact in something if it can lose 20% of its value tomorrow. Would you want to do that? Now, that's how a lot of people view these cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. I mean, as we've seen, I know it's only 15 years old and it's in its infancy, but as you've seen, the volatility in the price of cryptocurrencies is like nothing ever seen before, right? There's an indicator out there with stock charts. It's called the Ulcer Index. And I don't know for sure, but I guarantee you if you looked up some of these cryptocurrencies in their Ulcer Index, you would just see it going through the roof for the amount of ulcers and stomach aches some of these cryptocurrencies have given people during these wild swings. Now, it can go down 20, 30, 40, 50 or more percent over a short period of time. But as we know, cryptos, especially some of these meme coins, they just go up 10x overnight. And people have made massive amounts of money in short periods of time. But this volatility is going to make it very hard for Bitcoin to replace everyday fiat currencies, right? And on top of it, you see a lot of these big tech companies buying into Bitcoin, like MicroStrategy. And you're starting to see Bitcoin mirror the NASDAQ stock chart. That's the ETF that tracks tech stocks. So there's something there going on. They're starting to link with each other, whereas Bitcoin used to be a little more independent. It's starting to be linked to tech stocks and the NASDAQ chart. And to end this off, I just want to ask, what's the end game here, right? What is your end game? I would love to hear it in the comments below. What are your predictions for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? You know, what price do you sell? Do you ever sell? Is this something that you and your future generations are going to be holding on to forever? I truly don't know what I would do if I owned a bunch of Bitcoin. You're starting to see people, these whales, so to speak, that have a whole bunch of it. They're starting to sell it, and I don't know why. Maybe it'll go up, maybe it'll go down. But that leads us to the last part here. Will Bitcoin get to $1 million? And a little bit of math here to find out what it would take to get one Bitcoin to equal $1 million is this. Right now in 2025, at the time of filming this video, one Bitcoin is about equal to 113,000 US dollars, meaning that the market cap is about 2.25 trillion because there's 19.7 million Bitcoin in circulation. Now, eventually, as mining continues and more Bitcoin are mined, that's supposed to cap out at about 21 million Bitcoin. But for the sake of this video and the sake of today, we're going to use 19.7 million Bitcoin in circulation at a price of 113,000 per Bitcoin, getting us to a market cap of 2.25 trillion. So take $1 million. That's the price of what we're wondering if Bitcoin will get to. And we're going to divide it by today's price, $113,000. That's going to get us an 8.85 answer. And that answer is what's called the multiplying factor. Now, if you take that 8.85 and you multiply that by 2.25, the current market cap, you're left with about $20 trillion. You're going to need a ballpark value of $20 trillion of a market cap for Bitcoin in order for one Bitcoin to equal $1 million. And as I started doing some of this math, I was actually surprised by something. Now, before doing this work right here, I was thinking, there's no way that Bitcoin could get to $1 million. There's just no way. Who is going to put their money in there? Now, Currently, the market cap is 2.25 trillion. That's actually pretty small compared to certain things. A little bit of reference here. Nvidia's market cap is 4.5 trillion, all right? And the market cap for gold is about 27 trillion right now. Now, if Bitcoin gets to 1 million, the market cap's going to be about 20 million. That's still going to be lower than gold. That's actually not that much. I thought it was going to have to go to a much higher market cap for Bitcoin to be $1 million. That actually surprised me. Now, some people call Bitcoin digital gold. It's a store of value. Now, I'm going to pull something up right now. I'm going to put on the screen right now. This is a chart that shows the market cap of gold and Bitcoin. And as you can see, in the last few years, Bitcoin's market cap has pretty much gone sideways, meaning there's not all that much more money flowing into Bitcoin. Or if you look at gold, it's going up and up and up. And if you see the price of gold per ounce, it's going up and up and up. Now, why do I compare gold and Bitcoin? Bitcoin is supposed to have a fixed amount of them. There's supposed to be 21 million of them. And the same goes for gold. It can't be printed out of thin air. There's only so much gold in circulation. Our Earth only has so much gold. That's why I wanted to compare the two. And as we just saw, gold's market cap and price are just going through the roof, where Bitcoin's, during this time of dollar devaluation, is only going sideways. So should that worry you? I'm not sure. You tell me. Now, to end this off, I just have one more thing. In the title, there's the term HODLer, H-O-D-L. Now, yes, that was a spelling mistake on a crypto forum from 2013. Someone was saying that I'm holding forever. I'm never letting go of any of my Bitcoin. And they spelt it H-O-D-L. But then people took that and ran with it. And they said HODLer, H-O-D-L, stands for holding on for dear life. Now, does that sound like a wise investment strategy? Now, none of this is financial advice. I'm not saying put some money in Bitcoin or all of it or none. You do what you want to do. But for me, would I want to take all my hard-earned money and put it into something that could go down 50% over a week or two? I don't want to. But would I want to miss out on gains that you've seen in Bitcoin over the last few years? I wouldn't want to miss out on that either. Now, I'm going to let you make up your mind on that. But I just wanted to shed some light on that name, holding on for dear life. It just doesn't sound very fun to try to go to bed at night and not get any rest, wondering if you've just lost your net worth overnight. So all of us are working very hard, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and we all have bills to pay. And at the end, most of us don't have very much in the grand scheme of things to invest. So be very smart with your money. Protect it at all costs. One of Warren Buffett's most famous quotes is to not lose money. So be very smart about that. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Drop a comment below if you like this video. And if you found value in this video and you like these videos, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. I thank you so much for your time and tuning into my channel. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.